this is where the construction paper comes into play. So our construction paper, and what we need is we need lily pads, right? We're making a water lily. We need lily pads. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. One, you can cut out lily pads, green lily pads, and put them on here, and then just make sure you've got a crease. Once you have them on here, you can fold it closed a couple of times, make sure you have a good seam, and you can have a cut out lily pad here, there, and there, wherever you want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw them in and then color them, and use colored pencil. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to draw in probably 3 lily pads. It doesn't matter where, because these are going to take up almost all of the space, almost, right? We're going to see them on the outer edges. We're not going to really see them underneath the flower where it's glued down. But we need to at least go in pretty far, so that way in case underneath the flower you can see inside, we want to have that filled in the best we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a basic lily pad shape, okay? And then the lily pads have kind of that cut in, all right, like this. And I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do one that's overlapped. So this one's overlapped. I'm going to have this cut in here. And that's going to go off the page, but come back onto the page about there. Okay, so I'm going to make this completely round. Okay, you can make a basic circle shape if you want first. And then I'm going to make the third one coming over here. Make this one a little bit bigger. Have that cut in. And like that. Okay, so I've got my 3, and again, lightly sketch. We always lightly sketch. We don't draw dark all the time. Otherwise you can't erase it and your mistakes will always be there. So if we draw lightly, we can erase and mistakes go away, no big deal. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green color pencil, and again, I'm going to try and do something dark to light. I'm going to fade it up a little bit, especially because underneath the flower, it's probably going to be casting a shadow. It'll cast its own shadow, but I'm going to draw it as if a shadow is already on the lily pad as well. Draw some of the value, and just, you know, the way the light hits different things, we'll see different values. Okay, so I'm just going to, and I also need a blue because we need to make some water on the outer edge of this. But I'm going to start with the green, and I'm going to make it kind of rough. I don't want it to be completely filled in and real solid looking. I want this to be almost like a, not quite, but almost like a Monet painting, right? Something impressionistic a little bit, kind of loose. We want to make this look nice, but not like it's perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. So I don't normally outline, but I'm doing it in this case because the water's going to be an outline as well. It's like I teach my students, there's the only place you find lines are in cartoons and tattoos, and we don't find them in life. But when we're drawing, when we're trying to get this effect that we're going for, kind of a sketchy, impressionistic look, it's okay. We're gonna run with it, and of course it's not realistic anyways because this is paper and it's color pencil. So it'll go. These two styles will go well together when it's done. I think I'm gonna try and keep my pencil strokes going this direction, kind of in that circular mode, and see what happens. And we'll go from there. And again, some of these lines will be darker than others, some will be lighter. And I'm keeping it fairly light right now because I want to see how this is going to look and work through this. Under here, since there's an overlap, I'm going to go a little darker here. I don't know if any of this will be seen, but I'm going to act like maybe it will. Maybe you want to make it look really clean and fill it in solid. That is up to you as well. Maybe you want to use watercolor pencils and, you know, use water on this as a part of the effect and kind of make it smooth, or watercolor like more is less, instead of seeing the pencil strokes. That's up to you. I'm just here to get you started, get things going. And if you want to take it another way, then take it another way. Unless you're one of my students and you're paying attention to what I'm doing right now, and you're in my class, currently watching this video, and do what I'm asking you to do and make this impressionistic-like. I don't want you to spend too much time on this, making this look really solid, because that could take a lot of time, and we don't want to spend too much time on this. We want it to look nice, of course, but we don't need it to look, again, we don't need it to look super solid. And in this case, the lily pads, we don't want them to be the focal point of this piece. We want the emphasis to be on the flower itself, with a nice light background. Okay. And I may go back and embellish this a little bit more, add some lights and darks. Again, if you like the cleaner look and you want to do the paper, cut paper, then get some green construction paper, maybe a couple different colors, a couple different shades of green. We'll cut these out and paste them down. It would take a lot less time. What I'm going to grab is I'm going to grab a blue and another shade of green. I'm going to do a couple things with the blue. The one, I'm going to make kind of like ripples in the water. The other green, I'm going to see if there's some little highlights, different coloration. Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't know if you can see that, if that's coming up in the camera very well, but I'm going to give it a little bit of lighter green tone in here too, and just in some spots, and kind of filter it through a little bit, see if I like that coloration. Just experimenting, you know, seeing what works. If I don't like it, well, maybe I'll do it differently next time. If I like it, then success. So just giving a little different tones of green here. And again, I'm not going for super realism or hyper realism. Just getting the, you know, the look of some lily pads. That's it. Just want some lily pads. It's in the background behind the water lily. That's where the water lily's sitting, so it's going to cover most of this anyways. But I like it so far. So hopefully yours is going the way you want it to, and you're happy with it. And again, please stop the video, catch up, rewind, pause it, whatever it may be, so that way you feel comfortable doing this, right? Okay. So onto the blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in just a little bit of a dark line right here. I'm going to break that line a little bit and then come out here a little. Just kind of act like it's had a little movement. Maybe something dropped or somebody threw a stone in the water nearby and got a little bit of ripple effect going on. You notice I'm not going all the way around. I'm breaking my lines. I'm doing a little bit of variation. You can't always see every single ripple and the full portion of it. So okay. So then I'm going to go in with the water. I'm going to try and stay with the contour again of the shape. I want to keep my strokes. I don't want to go straight side to side. What happens to a round object when you color straight to side is you flatten it out. We don't want to necessarily flatten it out. We want to stay with the contour. And again, you could always do blue paper, like a light blue paper, and then use a dark blue to create the ripple effect. Instead of using a white cardstock. This blue's almost coming out violet, but I'm okay so far. You notice I'm turning my paper side to side instead of always moving my arm. Letting my left hand tell my right hand where I want the color. And again, this doesn't have to be completely smooth either. We just want it to take on the look of water. It's not the focal point of the image, right? And what we might want to do is blend this out just a little on our ripples, because it's not just always a straight dark line. Technically, you end up seeing the highlights of a ripple. So I might blend this just a little bit from the outer edges. And the viewer's going to understand what you're trying to achieve or what was achieved. Right? We just don't want it to be a harsh line. That harsh line it could end up looking like an afterthought. We don't want it to look like an afterthought. We want it to look like we planned it out. We did it the way we needed to make it successful. Okay. If you keep your strokes small, you'll be able to turn it and it'll look fairly round if your strokes are small. If you make really long strokes, they won't end up looking round. It'll just look like big, long, dark strokes that we didn't want there. I'm going to blend this one out real quick, a little bit. Make this look a little darker in this area. right, I'm pretty pleased. I'm happy with it right now. What we're gonna get to is the next step. First one we need to get right on our line. So this, where the tape is, that line, that's what we gotta get glued down. We've gotta put glue on just these two pieces right where the tape is. That's the other thing we need is glue. I don't know if I said that. Maybe I did. If I did, fantastic. So what I wanna do is I want to glue this up just on these two, right where the tape's at, and glue that real good. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is try and get it in the middle the best I can and make sure that the tape is right on the fold of the paper. So you want to make sure that the paper has been folded before you glue this down. Okay, I've got that glued down. Okay, I'm going to test it real quick because it'll actually help adhere the glue. I give it a quick fold. I'll give it a little creasing. Make sure that glue is in there real good. And then we'll see if it works as well. So that worked out pretty good. All right, so now what we need to do is we've got to get the other four glued on. And this guy, not only does this have to get glued down, we've got to glue down this side. So if this is our tape side here, we're going over to the left one, and these two get glued together. Okay. Okay, so I got my tape on that side. Get this together. I'll put both my fingers in here underneath. What I want to do is I want to get these two glued together, pinch them together real good, as far down as I can. Right, I want that to lay out real nice. Okay. And then I want to grab another one. And I need to do the same thing. I need these to be glued together way over here. So I've got to stretch this. This is where your folds come in handy. Actually, all right, so I figured something out. We've got to cut open and cut off this petal underneath. So we taped these two petals together on this third one that we glued. Well, since we need 6 of them, these don't need to be on here. So this one and this one can get cut off, and we don't want those to be glued down to the paper. So we're going to cut them off, and then the other side we've got to do something similar, but we'll catch it before we glue it down or glue it to anything else. So now I'm going to take this side. So my tape down side is going to be here. Okay, so I've got to glue that down, but I also have to glue the side of it to this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this to this first. So again, tape side is here. We got 2 petals. We're gluing on the side of that. And pinch from underneath, pinch them together real good. And again, this one we do want to glue down. So I'm going to put some glue down on the bottom of our taped side. Okay. So glue down. Okay. Then what we're going to do is try and make sure we get it on the crease best we can. And get it real close to the middle. We want to get it right in the middle best we can, close as we can. Really get it down there. Okay. Yeah, so far so good. I'm just testing it because these two that are taped together as well underneath, the second one that we put in, I'm going to cut those off as well because this is supposed to be free. It's supposed to move freely. Okay. Glue came up. I'm gonna move that back down. Alright, so on this side, I didn't tape this one yet. And these are probably going to get trimmed as well. But I need to get, what I'm going to do is cut the one petal off right next to the one that I'm going to glue. Okay. Put a decent amount of glue there and try and get all the way as close to the front as you can so it gets a good seal. Okay, and we're going to do the same with this one. We're going to cut, I actually need to cut both sides off. So I'm going to cut the bottom. This one that we would have normally bent and taped, we're going to cut that one off as well. And that one's going to go in here, but what I'm going to do is I need to cut the taped side off again. And I'm going to glue these two together on the ends here. Got to get this folding the right way that it needs to fold when we close it. Oh, it looks pretty cool like that from top view, but I'm not getting a good fold yet, so I've got to figure out which ones have to fold down right? So these ends are folding fine. The ends are folding fine. What we have to do is find out how this is supposed to collapse properly on the inside. Now you could at this point, if you're frustrated and you don't want to deal with it, you could leave it open and it won't be a card, okay? It won't be a pop-up card. It'll just be a pop-up, okay? What we need to figure out is what's going to help this close properly. And okay, so I've got the bottom folding fine. But now I've got to get the top part to fold. And once I've got it folded, then I can crease. Now, I can crease it, and this should, theoretically, hold this, or make this fold this particular way every time. Okay, so I've got, so I'm gonna open it up. I've got my water lily flower, right? And then if I go to fold it, it folds flat, okay? So again, open it, you got your cool water lily pop-up, and then if you go to fold it, it's good to go, it's flat, okay? So it's gonna take a little bit of finagling, figure out which petals have to fall and be creased. And we probably could have cut a couple more petals out, but I found a way to make it work where we didn't have to, okay? All right. So let's recap a little bit, because I'll be honest, I'm gonna be extremely honest with you right now. This was the first time I've done this. This was my first attempt at this. I found this, I thought it was cool looking. I don't usually shy away from things that look difficult, but I thought I'd be able to do it. I did it. It's not exactly done the way that the instructions say that it needs to be done, because they wanted you trimming more of the petals. So I still like the outcome of this. I like the way that this looks. You know, of course, this is, you know, from the side, it's not great. So you could theoretically color all the sides as well, both sides, but I like the way this looks. I'm happy with it. Would I do some things differently next time? Yes, I would, but this is a pretty cool card. I like this, my first pop-up, and I'm gonna learn from my mistakes. So, as will you. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to recap a couple things. So first of all, we need 6 of these petal cutouts. So we've gotta have 6 of these, all right? And not 4. Color them all up, we get them folded. 2 of them need to be taped. Only 2, these 2 are the only ones that need to be taped underneath, okay? The other 2, they can be cut for how we did this, those bottom 2 petals. So these 2 petals here, I trimmed off of this one, this one, this one, and this one. So these 2 I didn't trim off because those 2 are glued down and taped. These, I cut those off. We did not need those, and I didn't use any tape for those particular petals, okay? And then what we were doing was we were gluing, for these 2, we're gluing these 2 petals together from one to the other grouping of this. Make sure when you go to start folding, again, these two are gonna fold just fine. The two center ones are gonna fold fine. These, you're gonna have to figure out what needs to fold down. It looks like what I did was kind of a spiral. So this one, this petal that we colored in, this one's down towards me, this one's towards me, this one's away from me, and this one's away from me. That way, they all fold in. Okay, and now what I would do is I'd take another sheet of paper if you wanted to. I'd take another sheet of paper and you could do an outer edge or an outer covering and decorate this, make it look as nice as you want, whatever it may be, and glue this on around the edges at least, and glue this to the other paper. So that's how I would finish it off. Okay, so otherwise, there is our pop-up water lily.